Last night's my horror night. Welcome to the Last Video Store. I'm your host, Bud Haddonfield, and today we're going to talk about one of the greatest horror directors of the modern time, and I always say modern time is my time, from the somewhat to the mid-'80s to whenever movies stop being good. I'm just joking right here, because movies never stop being good. They have good movies that evolved over time. Some are great, some does not hold up to the previous standards, and then vice versa. And there's some that even blow some out of the water to this day. So getting back, I was a little off topic. One of my favorite directors is George Romero. Like I said last episode, he pretty much took the zombie subgenre and turned it what it is today. But he's not only known for his zombie movies, he's known for a bunch of other movies. So I figured I'd do a ranking of all of his movies that's in the horror field that he actually directed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got 15 movies of his where he directed. One he co-directed with somebody else, but let's see what that one is. So the very first movie on my list that's going to be in the 15th spot is going to be Bruiser. Excuse me. Bruiser is somewhat of a fun movie. I'm not going to say George Romero was towards the end of his career, but he was definitely down the road. It just wasn't his best. It had a fun premise, good acting. We get Tom Atkins. He's always a good time to spend a movie with, even in that crappy movie Trick. Is it called Trick? Let me stop right there. So, not shitting on this movie, it just wasn't his best film. So, moving along to 1972, and the 14th spot is going to be one of the movies he did in between Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, and it's going to be Season of the Witch. It's not a bad movie. It was somewhat of I'm not going to say a boring mess. It was just a bit boring, and it's not what we're used to when we see George Romero. Pretty much about a lonely housewife who goes off on her own path, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away because a lot of people hadn't seen this movie. But the number 14th spot is going to be Season of the Witch. Going down to the 13th spot is going to be the last of his Dead movies, and it's Survival of the Dead. I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it, but again, it wasn't up to par. It was the last movie we got from George Romero before his passing, a couple years after he did this. But it wasn't the worst movie out there. It was just, I felt like not a George Romero movie. So the next spot is going to go to Diary of the Dead. I remember when this one came out, it was following the first, I'm not going to say first boom of found footage, but it was around the same time that Cloverfield had come out, and this one came out. I read about it in a Fangoria magazine. And I was somewhat excited for it because I liked the one before this one, and I thought it would be a good premise. Now, this movie is supposed to take place around the same time as Dawn of the Dead, which there's a huge tone with modernity and whatnot. But I'm going to stop right there. Diary of the Dead, still a good movie, a fun premise, a very interesting take, but not his best. The next one is going to be what was considered a lost movie for the longest time, and it is The Amusement Park. It's right underneath an hour long. It's not an actual full-length feature film. I'm sorry, it's 54 minutes, so not even an hour. But it was a fun time. I think it was supposed to be made, something that George Romero was trying to get money for, to make somewhat of a creative film about the horrors of the elderly and what they go through and just how much of a trouble that they can have, and we really need to pay attention to our loved ones when they reach those golden years. This is about an older man. I don't remember the actor's name offhand, but he was in Martin. He played the cousin, I believe, in Martin, which was pretty cool. And he's literally just gets stuck in an amusement park all day long, and you really, really feel bad for this character. So, The Amusement Park. Going back, well, I say back, we're in the 70s with the last movie, but staying in the 70s, again, this movie was made after Dawn of the Day of the... It was made night after Living Dead. It was made right after that. It was made after Season of the Witch. This one came out in 1973, a couple years before Dawn of the Dead, and George Romero was really starting to find his footing in his filmmaking career and his choices. And The Crazies was an actual pretty good one. It's similar to the remake from with Timothy Oliphant from 2010, and it was a good time. It's just madness. Something's poisoning the water main in this small little town, and people are going nuts, hacking up one by one, fighting the military and whatnot. And I had to rewatch this around COVID time, because when COVID hit, I was kind of like the only asshole that was like, man, this is like life's a scary movie. And I didn't wish anybody got sick or died or anything. It was just a way to keep me sane. So I watched all the cabin fever movies. I watched The Stand. I watched The Crazies. Pretty much any movie where they had this plague going around. But The Crazies is a good, fun time. It's in the early 70s, like I said, 1973, and it's worth checking out. It's a bit on the older side, and it's somewhat slower to modern fans, but just because it's old doesn't mean it can't be new to you. All right, so we're jumping to the late 80s, 1988, and it's going to be Monkey Shine. And I talked about the sadness with the amusement park. This movie really bums me out because the monkey is cute as hell. And I'm going to stop right there. Ella was a fucking sweetheart, and it's not her fault, goddammit. So the dude, I'm trying to think. He did a police show. It's not important. Chicago PD, yes, the little dude, the little leader of the squad. Okay, so he's like this runner, and he gets run over by this vehicle, and he's now paraplegic. His mom's kind of overbearing. She brings in this nurse that's a pain in the ass, but his best friend is studying monkeys, and he's injecting monkeys with human brain tissue. And the smartest monkey he has, Ella, is a cute little, I say spider monkey. I could be wrong with it because I'm not a zoologist. But Ella starts to fall in love. She gets jealous, and it's a sad ending. But Monkey Shine's fun movie, sad ending. So 2005, I believe it was, they put out the information that this movie was coming out, and it is Land of the Dead. I absolutely love this. I went to see it in theaters. It was the first one of George A. Romero's movie I got to see in theaters, and sadly, it was the last one that actually he directed. But Land of the Dead was cool. It picked up 20 years from Day of the Dead, because Day of the Dead was 1985, and this one was 2005. So exactly 20 years. We get a cool cast with John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, is it Simon Baker who's the star of this movie? Asia Argento. Cool, fun movie, great concept. The zombies looked really cool. Tom Savini did a cameo of his zombie from Dawn of the Dead, so it was really cool to see that. And we get Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg as a zombie in one of the small scenes. So, next movie on the list is going to be Land of the Dead. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm coughing. So the next movie on my list is going to be the one that he co-directed. He co-directed it with Dario Argento, which is a cool Italian director. He did a lot of cool giallos in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And he's still working to this day. He put out Dark Glasses a couple years ago, and that wasn't too good. But you know what? He's still working, man. So Two Evil Eyes, I think they're both, well, one of them's based on an Edgar Allan Poe story. It's a cool little anthology. It has two stories, and the one that George A. Romero directed was better than the other one. Love Dario Argento. I liked his story much better in this one. So if you have not seen Two Evil Eyes, it is a very cool little I'm not going to say unheard of, but it's a hidden gem of an anthology movie. So we're down to our top 6. Having a really fun time because all these movies are enjoyable. Like I said, just because they're in the last place doesn't mean they're bad movies at all. It's just if you had to pick and choose out of all of George A. Romero's work, you have to put a number on them. So the 6th spot is going to be The Dark Half. This one was based on a Stephen King book. Really fun. It was somewhat similar to Secret Window with Johnny Depp, if you hadn't remembered that one. And Timothy Hutton was in both this and Secret Window, and it has something to do with like a dual personality. Like there's something there. There's a writer. You stole my story. But The Dark Half is really cool. This one came out in 1993. We get Michael Rooker as the town sheriff, taking over, I believe, the same character from Needful Things that was played by Ed Harris. And this writer, and it actually takes place from Stephen King's real work because he was writing under the Richard Bachman books, and somebody pretty much threatened to expose him, so he came out and said it was me this whole time. less Italian or less Russian, whatever the hell you want to call it. But he kind of splits his character because he's like a college professor, just like Stephen King. And he's also a writer, but he writes under another name. And somebody goes to expose him as the daddy from Harriet the Spy. And he was one of the little dorks from fucking the remake of Hills Have Eyes. But this personality that he kills off comes to life and starts killing people in very brutal, grotesque fashions. So, The Dark Half. Definitely check this one out. The fifth spot is going to be the one and only Creepshow. Creepshow was such a cool movie, of course, based on Stephen King. This one was based off comic book. Fun all the way through. We got Stephen King, we got Tom Savini, we got Ed Harris again. He works with a lot of his same people. Adrienne Barbeau's in this one. She was in Two Evil Eyes as well. But man, this is a fun movie, anthology. I'm pretty sure everybody heard about this movie, and if you haven't, turn off this video and go check out Creepshow, the original one. The TV show is pretty good, but it's nothing compared to the 1982, I believe, classic. 1982. Hallelujah. Oh, the sequel was pretty good too. Part 3 was kind of a piece of shit, but man, this first one is just so cool and so iconic, and I'm sorry about the glare. So the fourth spot, and these movies can be interchangeable from anyone. I will happily accept anybody's choices for any of these movies, except these four are so amazing. I love them all. They could be any one of the spot for the top four. I just had to put them in this spot today. So the number fourth spot is going to be Martin, which is a weird little vampire movie. I believe this one came out in 1977, 78, so I was close. Tom Savini's in this movie. The guy who had the starring role in the amusement park, and the little kid from Martin, he has some kind of character in Dawn of the Dead. I can't think of what it is, but John Amplas, that sounds about right. So Martin is about this weird little boy going around killing people with a razor blade because he thinks he's a vampire, and he goes live with his older cousin. Very cool. The ending is pretty cool. So okay, top three, and if you're upset with this one, you can't blame me, okay? So the top three, number 3 spot is going to be the original, Night of the Living Dead. Love this movie very much. I remember watching this over and over again on the VHS tape because it was just so easy to find. It was always playing on Halloween. It was always playing in actual horror movies because it was region-free, not region-free. It was copyright-free. So you could pretty much use it in anything. Such a great movie. Dwayne Jones was just the best leading man. George A. Romero really knocked it out of the park. And if it wasn't for this movie, he wouldn't have had much of a career because, like I said, something had happened. Something had to do with the copyright, and he didn't make any money off of this movie, or hardly any money. So he worked hard to build his empire and all his other future films, and that's why we got all the great films we got today. So Night of the Living Dead, ultimate classic. The number 2 spot is going to be Day of the Dead. Love this movie. This is one of the best part 3s I can think of, following pretty much the events from Night of the Living Dead to Dawn of the Dead to this one. Really can't talk enough about this movie because it's just so amazing. We have Bub, we have Dr. Frankenstein, we have Captain Rhodes. Just check this movie out if you haven't seen it. The remake, the 2 remakes that follow was kind of turds, but the one from 1985 was absolutely amazing. The score was great. This movie was awesome. So the number 1 spot is going to go to, and if you haven't guessed it because I kind of run out of George A. Romero movies, is going to be Dawn of the Dead. What can I not say about this movie? It was just absolutely amazing. It gave us Ken Foray. He was always great. He led on to have such a great career. He was in the Keenan and Kel movie. He was in pretty much anything you could think of. He would pop up in just about anything in the 80s. It's like all of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, is that Ken Foray? Fucking Phantom of the Mall. Leatherface, Keenan and Kel, Devil's Rejects, pretty much everything. He's Joe Grizzly, bitch. So, absolutely love this movie. This edition was pretty cool, but I just had to spring and pre-order when this one came out, and it is absolutely amazing. So, that is my top 15 ranking of George A. Romero's movies. Great director. If you haven't seen any of these movies, please check them out. Even the ones that are like at the bottom of the list, just because some movie had to be there. So check all his movies out. His movie has a lot of social satire to it, and I can't just stop saying good things about him. So George A. Romero, God rest his soul, was absolutely amazing. I hope we get some more homages to him in the future. But yeah, if you want to leave me your opinion on the matter, your ranking, I would love to hear it. Leave me a comment. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me, well, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on the Facebook. I might even be on MySpace. But thank you again for tuning into the last video store. I'm your host, Bud Haddonfield. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.
Michael Myers are the heroes of my past. Now the media is dying. Chucky and the zombies now all up in cemeteries. So bring me back those. I wanna come back to those times.